Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. God, that is a catchy song. Anyway, welcome to another episode of 51 Shades of Grey, episode 7. I am your host, Sean Grayson, rocking out my New England Patriots t-shirt, which was great if it was 10 years ago, but we just suck now. Hey guys. So listen, back to just a one-on-one. We're doing 51 minutes tonight, 51 Shades of Grey. So we're not gonna shortchange you tonight at all, not one bit. We have some big things in the works coming out soon. A new logo, potentially a new intro. There are some big things happening, potentially a platform pickup. I told you we had some big things kind of a brewing here. But tonight I want to talk to you about, God, so much wrestling. We have so much wrestling to cover. We're going to cover Raw. We're going to cover a little NXT. Just a little bit of NXT. A little baby bit. We're going to cover AEW Dynamite because it was a crazy show. Talk a little bit about life, like I like to do sometimes as well. And we might even dabble into a little bit of Smackdown if there's time. I didn't put that obviously in our title because I'm not sure if we're going to have the time to do it tonight. But let's go into it. Let's do the Raw recap from this Monday night. We're going to touch on a few different things, right? We're going to touch on a few different things. We're going to talk about my feelings on those things. We're going to potentially talk about your feelings on these things. It's going to be a fun night. Let's talk about it. So Raw was great. I thought Raw was great. I thought that there was a lot of good moments of Raw. I thought there was a lot of foreshadowing on Raw that led to where we got to be. I thought the Raw episode kicking off with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I thought that it was great. I thought that Punk and the crowd just worked together real well. Again, Punk doing Punk things, Seth Rollins coming out, really spending the time to really get involved in laying the foundation down for something more. It felt real, right? Like, I think that's the cool part about the Rollins Punk storyline. We know that there's a lot of animosity there, a crazy amount of animosity, and that's good because animosity breeds for great wrestling. I think that when we start doing things like that, we're gonna sell some gold. It's gonna be magical. And when magic comes around, it's almost like you got to be there to see it, right? Type thing. We're gonna get Seth and Punk at some point soon. Soon, I mean, like we're gonna get it in the next year or so. A little bit under a year, probably. And I am all about it. I am all for it. I cannot wait to have it. I think that you know. I think that having Seth intermingled with Punk and how he's doing things is very interesting. Um, a lot of people are asking, like, because it looks like, again, not being cleared. I don't think Punk's cleared yet. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a Drew Punk SummerSlam match. I think probably will. I think it'll be like next week since Drew was suspended. And then coming back obviously next week because Punk wants a piece of him. So I think we're gonna get that match. A lot of people are like, "What is Seth gonna do for SummerSlam?" I don't know. People have thrown out the idea of potentially him in a kind of a special enforcer or a referee type role. I don't know. Don't you feel that like this storyline needs something more than just a special guest referee? I don't know. Like, It needs something bigger. Last man standing type stuff. Uh, it can't just be a regular match. It can't be. But does Seth want to be involved in that kind of thing? And if not, who's Seth's opponent then? I don't know. I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. And I look at it and I kind of gotta go like, well, great back and forth, right? On Monday Night Raw. Wanting this match. We've all wanted this match. Drew was supposed to be like a placeholder. What I mean by a placeholder is like kind of like how to make Cody Rhodes better. Okay, throw AJ Styles in there. But it's gotten to a point, I think, where like Drew has become like the victim of this whole thing. And this storyline needs something. You can get like 2 or 3 matches out of this storyline. But I'm excited. I don't know if I'm more excited for Drew and Punk or Seth and Punk. I don't really know. I hope that Punk doesn't get injured right over the course of the next year or so because I want to see both of those things happen. But I mean, look, I'm excited about to see Drew and Punk. Programming note, by the way, we will be doing a Sunday show, weekend wrestling show, where I talk a little bit about. We talk a little bit about what the best and worst matches were of the week, or just and kind of go into it like that. And then we're going to do 2 pods, two episodes next week. But from that point, I'm not too sure. The next 2.5 weeks, I know it's crazy because we got SummerSlam coming up. I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be in Europe. So I don't know the life of the podcast in those 2.5 weeks. I really want to get you guys a preview show. I don't know if that's really going to happen. Maybe I'll shoot it from my phone with a video, send it into the powers that be for post purposes. Or I'll bring potentially, there's a thought process, which I think would be really cool if Mackenzie and my daughter sits in for me for at least for the post show. With somebody else kind of hosting it and her being asked questions. I think that'd be kind of cool. But if that doesn't happen, we'll see about doing a post show. Doing a post show from Greece would be interesting. I don't even know when I'll have time to watch it in complete detail. So you're probably going to get a preview show at some point by me. The post show might take a little bit. I am going to be able to watch it in its entirety, maybe on the plane ride home, if not by the middle of that week after SummerSlam, potentially on that Wednesday. I'll shoot for you guys to get my reaction, my SummerSlam reaction, and then my Raw recap reaction right afterwards as well. But listen, it is what it is, right? We travel, we have families, we do things. It's real life, right? And so, yeah, listen, that's a quick programming note. So getting back into it, again, I'm really excited about that. I thought it was a great way to do it. Then I want to kind of get into the Jey Uso Chad Gable match. We're not going to talk about the match, right? The match was a good match. We got another video from the Wide Six. Jey Uso ran out of the way of the Wide Six again. I thought it's very funny that Jey is constantly involved in this kind of this situation. And then you had Chad Gable, and with Chad Gable, you have him laying in the middle of the ring, and while he's laying in the middle of the ring, the smoke fills. He's freaked out. The Sister Abigail character, played by Nikki Cross, drops another VHS tape out. Kind of go to black, and I found it a little weird I'm a huge fan of the White Six group or whatever they're doing at this point, faction or whatever the case may be. But I found it a little weird, and I thought it a little, I don't know. Well, the word's not believable, right? That's not the word we're going to use. We're not going to use the word not believable because it's not believable, right? But you pan back to Sheamus going, "Whoa, wasn't that weird?" Like, I don't know. Like, remember before I was talking about, like, I don't want this to be, like, it could go two ways, right? Like, it could turn into this nonsense thing or it could be something real. And the problem is that when you do stuff like what Sheamus did, which was say, "Whoa, this is weird," uh, it's a segment now. Um, so I kind of question that, right? Now, if we flash forward on the show, and we'll obviously get to the Dom and Liv stuff, we will. Mommy's back, but we'll get to that in a few because I have some thoughts on it. I have some real life thoughts on it as well. But you flash forward to watching a VHS tape again, talking about the family, really an in-depth scenario talking about the family. You cut to a scene uh, with the general manager and call him General Manager Adam, right? Like just like General Manager Nick. But you have him walking into his office where Bo Dallas is waiting for him to have a conversation. I found that interesting. Great foreshadowing as to what's going to happen next. We don't know. We have to watch and see. That's important there. I really liked kind of how that kind of finagled a little bit there. But I'm interested to see where it's going because I'm unsure about it at this moment. The VHS tapes are great. We should continue with the VHS tapes. But let's not make it muckety muck, right? Let's not make it let's not make it the Friday the 13th nonsense, right? Or Freddy Krueger. Like, in 2024, that stuff doesn't work, right? You got to be real. Real sometimes can be scary. Real sometimes is scarier than fake. Let's be clear. So there was a little bit of that. There was, and then obviously, well, look, we had the Rhea. I'm sorry, the Dom and Liv, who Dom didn't want to tag with Liv against his father, Rey Mysterio, and Zelina Vega. Booyah, gotta get on the same page. Gotta get on the same page. And throughout the show, Priest is talking to someone on the phone. Get a couple backstage segments in their clubhouse. And, you have, Liv working on the stretching. And a little funny line before that was like when they were first started kind of getting together with this tag, or Dom agreeing to this tag. He's like, there better be some tendies or some nuggets, because he loves his chicken nuggets and chicken tenders. I thought that was really kind of funny. And Dom is just a funny guy, like just a funny character. Now we flash forward to the moment of the tag match where inevitably Dom pins Ray, gets his first pin, and you have that, and you have Liv jumping to Dom and pulling Dom to the ground, and you can see them like almost about to kiss, and then they're about to kiss, and boom, Rhea Ripley's music hits, and here she comes. Liv hightails it out of there, and Dom looks at Rhea in the ring, and Rhea's like, "Hey, really, dude?" And Dom's like, "Hi, hug," and cuts to black. Now, there's a couple things I said I wanted to talk about from a real perspective, right? I think it's important. I think it's valuable. We need to bring this up, okay? There's a lot of people on social media that love the storyline and think now it's a little wonky. kind of right in the middle, right? There's some truth to both sides of everything. So the smart wrestling fan knows it's a story, right? Uh, we all are telling. We all are acting in some form of a way, right? We all are. Uh, I'm in sales, right? It's a constant act, right? It's a constant act. But we all put on sometimes our best faces and put our best foot forward, and maybe we're not who we are at all times. And I'm saying this because some people choose to not suspend belief. What I mean by that is, I understand that Dom is married. I also understand that Rhea's married. Liv's the only one that's single. And they're all married to different people. But it's a storyline. This is fun. Now, trying to suspend belief is important because the reality is they're just actors and actresses playing a role. That's what makes MJF so good when he's a heel, right? What makes MJF so good is when he's a heel is he's an asshole all the time. Oh, I cursed the first time in 7 episodes, right? Is asshole really a curse? I don't think it is, but if it is, he's that. And you have a situation where just using the example of people who don't understand it, right? Who don't understand the nuances of that, all of the realities of life. I'm just going to use not to say the children, but the younger generations, right? Not knowing this stuff. And when they see it on TV, they're like, wait a minute now. Isn't Dom dating Rhea? But Rhea's married? And so is Dom to somebody else? And so it's just about kayfabe. It's really what it is. And what you choose to believe. 15, 20 years ago, you didn't have to worry about that. Social media wasn't around to cover these kind of events. You had our little spinning camera, right? Little thing. Click, right? Print them up at Walgreens, right? Your flip phone was the best camera you had, and it was atrocious 15 years ago. 15, 20 years ago, it was not the best. Even 25 years ago, not the best. And it wasn't popping as it is now, the social media end of things. If, again, I said this to you guys in a former podcast, in a former episode, if people, God, if you heard about situations backstage like you do now, maybe nobody would be watching wrestling. I don't know. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is this. And I want to get back into the kayfabe of it all, right? I want to get back into the storyline of it all. And my opinion on the storyline at this point, right? My opinion on the situation for the Dom's in, right? If I'm in Dom's situation, let me explain. So, who is Rhea to Dom? That's his mommy, right? In reality, and it's funny that his name is Dom because he's a submissive person to Rhea, who's Dominic, dominating, essentially, a dominating character. And that's what the relationship is. It's a very Dom sub 50 Shades of Grey, not 51 Shades of Grey, but 50 Shades of Grey relationship. Rhea hasn't given Dom what Liv gives him from an emotional end of things. He's very submissive towards her. That could be where the storyline should go. It's like, you've been gone. You got married. That would have been amazing. But even if you don't say that, you've been gone. And Liv is giving me everything emotionally and physically that I need. And I just look at it like, what is he fighting for? I don't know. I'm wondering where the storyline's going. I know the storyline is obviously going to Liv and Rhea at SummerSlam having a match for the title. We'll see what happens there. I would love Dom to turn on Rhea there. I don't know if it's going to happen. But look, it's a great storyline. Raw's again hitting on all cylinders. I think that throughout the 3 hour Raw, there's so much more for me to cover, but there's so much for us to cover tonight. Those are really the things that kind of stuck out. Obviously, that and Braun Breaker, that's a whole other thing. And how goddamn Braun Breaker will beat Sammy. When Sammy came out with that title, I was like, oh God, I hate him so much. I don't hate him, but Braun would be so much better with that title. I hope we're leading to another match with them. So, getting off of Raw for a second here, let's get on to, because again, we have tons more subjects to cover tonight, and only about 30 minutes to do it at this point. So, we're going to touch a little bit on NXT. I don't really care what's going on with NXT except the fact that Ethan Page is now the NXT champion. And like 4 weeks ago, he was still in AEW. So they really messed that one up. I tell you, they really messed that one up. Coincidentally, the next person that comes out, besides Trick Williams, Shawn Spears, like 2 months ago in AEW, one of Cody's boys though, so I expect that to happen. But what's cool is they set up a tag match for later on in the night with them, with Javon Evans, Trick Williams versus Shawn Spears, Ethan Page. Eventually, Evans gets hurt, and Trick's gonna do it himself. Except if you say his name, he appears. Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, right? Joe Hendry, man, YouTube sensation, TNA superstar. That man has dollar signs printing money right now. He's going to be a star if he's not already a star. He's going to be even a bigger star when he eventually gets to WWE. I think his whole gimmick is amazing. I think that, excuse me, guys, it's late tonight. It's late. I think that Joe Hendry is a star. So that's all I really wanted to cover in NXT. I just wanted to say I think Joe Hendry is a star, and I'm happy Ethan Page has the title. Let's get into AEW Dynamite here. Oh, that's a show. That's a show, ladies and gentlemen. That was a show. You know, when Max came out, I'm sorry, when Ospreay came out and started talking about the bidding war of 2024 and Max's words and setting up something that I didn't think was going to get set up. Sets up a match on the 250th episode of Dynamite next week. MJF Will Ospreay international title. Timeout. All right. So I don't know. I mean, I get why the match is happening. I think it's so close to All In London that I would really like to save this match. So I hope that there's a draw, a long hour draw, because I think the match at All In should be these two. I would love it to be a draw on Wednesday night. We get off of that, and we get over to Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page, a heel Page, and a lot of false finishes in this match. A ton of false finishes. Sorry, guys. I tell you tonight, a bunch of false finishes in that match. Great match. I actually thought there's definitely a few times. Remember, I always talked about the times that you shock me, right? And shock is always a good thing in wrestling. And I loved the shock of, oh my God, Bryan's gonna lose. Oh my God, he's gonna lose. Oh my God, he's gonna pass out. Oh my God. Oh my god, this. Oh my god, that. To eventually get a quick cover on Hangman 1, 2, 3. Bryan Danielson, Swerve Strickland, all in. Great main event. Swerve comes out, passes by a bloody Danielson. Basically says, like, I'm not being respected as a champion. I'm joining Team AEW for the Blood and Guts. Hangman Adam Page joins Team Elite for Blood and Guts. But then there's another issue. There's another thing that comes up where Hangman basically calls out Okada, our boy Okada. It challenges him to a match next week, champion versus champion, 250th episode. That match is going to be amazing. So right away, we have two amazing matches for next week. And I was thinking at that moment, was really thinking about that moment. I was like, because I didn't know, obviously, what was going to happen in the main event. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. I was like, man, Mariah May and Willa Nightingale are main eventing. That's stupid. I wonder why. But we got our answer later. But I thought it was a great moment. I thought it was. I'm really happy for Brian. I think that he, first off, he gets credit, but he doesn't. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he really is, and how much fun he's having. And he's come out multiple times in multiple interviews, and he said, "I don't want to be AEW champion." God damn it! What a bet! What better of a moment to have Bryan Danielson at the end of All In Wembley, hold that title, confetti coming down. That, God, think about that for a second. Think about the last time that Bryan Danielson held the world title. Was it? And again, I'm not sure of this, but was it WrestleMania 35? The 19-hour WrestleMania? Kofi Mania? Kofi Mania? Maybe it was the time that he did that? Did he have that title? Probably, yeah. That's right. Because he hasn't had an AEW. And so, I mean, like, I think Brian's well overdue for this. And I would love it. And we flash forward a little bit here to past the Samoa Joe being destroyed by Chris Jericho, past all that stuff. We get to the main event. Oh, it's a good match. Mariah May won. That's not the point. Toni Storm was so excited. Mariah May is running up there and actually completely caught me by surprise. That turn was crazy. Grabs the belt, runs back to Toni Storm 3 or 4 feet, and goes pop right in her head, causes blood, then takes that shoe the high heel that she throws at everybody, and just start beating her with that shoe. Really, like, leaving indentations, blood everywhere, and she just leaves. Psychopath. I love it. I love the psychoness of that all. It was good stuff. That's some good stuff. Like, really happy to get that match. Sorry, guys. The that match at All In is going to be a great match. It's crazy because now we have a heel Mariah, and I was saying I thought Mariah would beat Toni Storm because I thought Toni was going to turn heel on her. That's not happening, so I don't really know who's going to win the match at all. But Dynamite was exciting. It was a really, really good show. So let's preview SmackDown. Coming off the heels of Money in the Bank. And we're going to have, obviously, Solo. The fact that Solo pinned Cody, it's going to be a big deal on the show. We'll start new storylines 3 weeks before SummerSlam, hopefully. Hopefully we get the Logan Paul, LA Knight scenario. We'll figure out who Randy and Kevin Owens are probably going to wrestle at SummerSlam. So it's interesting, right? Because I would think that they're going to wrestle Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga with Tongalo in the corner, but who knows? I think we're inevitably, obviously, leading to a Roman Reigns appearance at SummerSlam. Again, I can't watch it live. Sucks for me. But I'm excited about it. Also, let's not forget Tiffy Time, Miss Money in the Bank is going to be there. I think that's going to be really exciting to see. And let's not forget the new tag team champions. DIY will also be there, new SmackDown tag team champions. And we're going to get some good stuff out of that show. I'm excited. So it's funny. I thought I was going to go 51 minutes tonight. I'm not, probably, at this point, thinking about it now, looking at the timing on everything. But I want to talk about, because I said I wanted to talk about life. Because we covered a lot of wrestling in 30 minutes, which is really cool. I wasn't as detailed as I thought I was going to be. A lot of times I do things off the cuff, but really things that stuck out at me. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. Over the course of the past few episodes, anybody's really listened to it, they've realized and found out that I had a sick family member. My aunt, my great aunt. And I let everybody kind of in on the fact that she was about to seek hospice care and all that kind of stuff. And tomorrow I'm going to her funeral. So you only go to a funeral if somebody has passed away. Which is why I'm doing this recording on a Thursday and not necessarily on, a Tuesday for a Raw recap and then Thursday do the Dynamite recap, right? So I had so much to cram into one episode that I missed some things, right? I was ready to go on Tuesday, right, if you will, when I got the call. And by the way, I didn't get the call, on Tuesday. I got the call on Wednesday morning, right? So I'd worked a full day on Tuesday, so I couldn't really do a recording. I had planned on doing it on Wednesday, but things happen. And I want to talk about those things, right? I think it's important to discuss those things. I think it's important to be vulnerable. In an unvulnerable world, we have to be vulnerable to certain things in life. Her passing in that morning definitely took a toll on me emotionally, I think for my family as well. But it wasn't as emotional as it probably will be tomorrow. And I think about the times, right? This woman, this is my great aunt, right? So it's my my grandmother's sister, essentially. 93 years old. And she's been, been in assisted living for a few years. And again, I preface by telling you guys that I didn't see her as much in the last few years. And I tend to think, was it the wrong thing? Was it the right thing? I don't know. There's not really any answers for it. If I saw her more, would I have more of an emotional breakdown? Would I even be able to record this podcast or even talk about this? I have no idea. I know that if that was my grandmother, when she passed, I was there. I was right there. And I was a wreck. I still am. And that was 2015. A piece of me left me. So if I treated her the same way, who knows if I had pieces left in me for that. But I want to talk about it, right? Because I think it's important, right? Yeah, we're on here. We want to listen to our opinions, our ideas for wrestling, and I think those are things that are really important. But life is important too. Life is important. And I put my daughter to bed tonight, and she said, she knew I was going to the funeral tomorrow. I'm going to the funeral tomorrow, and she said, I'm really sad. And I said, why are you sad? And she said, I'm sad because the funeral. And she passed away. And I think she used the word pass away. I think she used the word die or something like that. And I kind of looked at her, and I kind of was like, yeah, it sucks. And I knew what she was thinking, so I kind of kept it moving. I kind of was like, look, she was 93 years old. And then again, we're trying not to get emotional as I'm trying to say what I'm going to say to you guys tonight. And I know what she was thinking, because she's looking at me and she's thinking the same thing. Is that inevitably that'll happen to me? Father Time is undefeated. And it sucks. We've all lost someone. Some closer than others. And it doesn't get any easier. Especially in the beginning. Now, if you lose somebody really, really close to you, it might never get better. And you'll have your good days and your bad days. Just like this situation. Yesterday was a bad day. In fact, I saw like my preview intro for our show. That kind of cheered me up a little bit because it was really cool. And you guys will see that soon. But we go through ebbs and flows, right? Like a roller coaster, right, of emotions, right? Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're bad. Some days are easier than others. Some days you don't think about it. Some days you do. When we were on the show tonight, I got a text message from my cousin. And my cousin sent me a photo of my... I don't know if anybody could really see this. But it's my father when he was younger. I was born. I was probably a kid. And then there's my aunt right there. In fact, this definitely had to have been... I mean, this was pre 9/11, obviously. This probably was the early 90s. Twin Towers in the background. And, you see that and you kind of get, more of the emotion comes back to you. And you think about the people in your life. And I've spent the time every Christmas, probably for the past 20 years, doing this. It sounds so silly, I know. But with each Christmas, and each day, each Christmas that comes by every year, and you're worried. You get worried. In the 80s and 90s, our Christmas were like us, my family, my grandfather, my grandmother, my great aunt, my other aunt. And then as the years went on, and one was gone, the other was gone, and the other was gone, the other was gone. And I try to continue those legacies. It's tough sometimes. It's tough losing someone. But it's also tough to see them suffer. So it's a catch-22 where everything is concerned. Because at 93 years old, the quality of life wasn't there anymore. So are you, as a person, being selfish, wanting that person to be there for your own personal, I don't want to say amusement, but your own personal vindication that everything is okay? Make you think tonight, right? I made you think a little bit right there. It's tough. Am I being selfish? Maybe. I'm starting to understand what everybody else was saying. Everybody else it's a celebratory funeral of life. 85 years, this woman was smoking cigarettes. She never had lung cancer. Come on. Come on. That's crazy. Like, that's insane. Like, I can't kiss my kids in the cheek without getting a cold now. They bring those things home. 85 years of smoking cigarettes, no cancer. Like, low lung cancer. That's freaking insane. But I don't know. You know, life's a fragile thing. You don't appreciate what you have until it's gone. You become so busy and so detailed in your own personal good that the everything around you doesn't seem like it's as important. In reality, it is. You know, I saw a reel today, and this is nothing to do with death or anything like that. I saw a reel today, and the reel said, "I'm sorry, it was a reel, but it was a Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey. It was talking about motivation, and it was like basically like go sit in first class, like you know, see how the first class lives, right, on a plane, on an overnight, on like a longer flight, and you'll never want to go back to coach, and you'll figure out ways um, to get up there, and in a lot of ways, it speaks to just life in general. There, no matter how busy we all are, we're all busy. Don't be too busy to not say goodbye. What I mean by this, don't be too busy to say I could have done more. Don't be too busy saying I'll send it tomorrow. I'll send the text tomorrow. Don't be too busy to say I'll call tomorrow. Don't be too busy to see what's in front of you. You know, I try to yell at my wife about this sometimes. She's huge into posting what we're doing, what we're reading, all that kind of good stuff, right? Social media. And I say, sometimes I just want you to put down your phone and live it. And her response is, yeah, but I want us to have the memories. And I get it. Makes sense. God, I wish that I had more pictures of my great aunt with me. I mean, I do, but I'm younger. I don't have the gray hair, guys. And of course, I want those, but I'm wanting them for selfish reasons, obviously. And I don't know. I just kind of look at it like all of us are busy. All of us have things to do. But don't make all those things to do the most important thing in your life. The most important things in your life is family, is your friends, is your loved ones. Those are the people that when the ship goes down, they're going down with you. You can get fired from a job. You can have a bad day. Your team could be the worst freaking football team ever, right? Shout out to the New York Giants as well because they're also awful. I know people that listen to this podcast are huge Giants fans, so yeah, you're just as bad. But all of those things are really not important. I started to understand this a little more and more and more. I used to never miss a Patriots game. I still try not to, but I'll sometimes take it on my phone instead. And I'll go out with the family and I'll do what we do. Because you're not gonna get that time back. Every time that if you're a young father or you have children that are young, even children that are a little older, spend the time with them. The core memories. This is time you're never gonna get back. I I have 3 kids. So my oldest, obviously, Mackenzie, and my youngest is a little over a year old, and they're having a bath tonight. And my oldest was like, "Say hi," and my 1 year old was like, "Hi," and I was right there. I don't know if she meant to say it or if she was just doing copying things or had any idea what that was about, but it was awesome experience. You guys all will have those experiences if you don't already. It's life, and it's gone like that. Those moments like that. You turn around and you're 40. I still remember like my high school graduation as if it was like yesterday. It wasn't. It was coming up. It's coming up now on 23 years ago. So I've been out of secondary school. For those of you who don't know what secondary school is, it's like, high school. I've been out of high school longer than I went to school, essentially. I had my 20th high school reunion last year. A year and a half, about a year, yeah, about a year ago. Yeah. Year ago? Yep, year ago. A year and a half ago. And life just it's fragile, right? So I know we got on a little bit of a tangent here, but I think it's important, right? I know we're not talking wrestling right now. I know. I think it's important to spend that time. Spend that time watching wrestling together. Go to wrestling. Go to an indie show. Do something with somebody. Be that person that answers the phone, answers the text. Don't be that person that says, "Man, I can't believe you're coming out with us tonight," or "I can't believe this. I can't believe that you ended up, you know, you ended up picking up the call." Be fortunate if you have, if when your phone rings, it's your family. Because, like we talked about, and like we've said many times, Father Time is undefeated, and soon those calls won't come. That's another person on my phone now that I'll scroll by their telephone number and know that I'll never, ever, ever, ever have the back and forth again. I'll never I'll never look down and see Auntie calling me. And it's tough. Cherish those moments with the people you love. Care about them. That's what's important in life. Nothing else matters. Everything else is what did they say in Wolf of Wall Street? It's fugazi. It's not important. Family's important. Friends are important. They're the most important thing in your life. I can make tons of money if I wanted to. Money is amazing. Buys you tons of stuff. But core moments are the only thing that people are going to really remember is if you were there for them. I've never missed a moment of my kids' lives so far. Or any kind of big milestones I've been there. Hopefully they remember that. I think they will. And you know what's crazy? We did go 51 minutes today because we were talking real about real life. It gets us on a little bit of a tangent, right? We just keep it moving. But we did. We got 51 minutes of not just talking about wrestling, but talking between me and you. So if it hit you tonight, anything that hit you tonight, let me know. Follow us on X at 51 Shades of Grey PW Pod. And follow us on Instagram at 51 Shades of Grey PW. Until next time.